Good afternoon. I'm Jack Gearhart, the CEO of US Sailing, here with our weekly update. I think many of you have been following the Starboard portal on the web. We have a great collection of interviews and sailing visionaries on this past week to excite and interest people from all walks of the sport. Yesterday was really interesting to listen to Gary interview Terry Hutchinson from American Magic. Some really inspirational messages there. Excited to see what's happening there with the American Magic team. We also had Steph Roble on as part of a REACH program. Really interesting to also see how she was talking about wind, different types of wind, and how she and Maggie are leveraging that on the race course. And finally, I think the other one that I found really interesting, it beat me up a little bit, was Mike and Lauren talking about fitness. They had a 10 o'clock show this morning on Friday with burpees and all sorts of planks, keeping us fit. I think working at home is an opportunity for all of us to try to accomplish those New Year's resolutions that sort of drop off in January. But you all can track what's going on there. We're sending out daily updates about the schedule, and you can follow links from our homepage if you want to check out and see what's going on that might interest you. Other things we've been working on this week, as I mentioned last week in the update, we've been focused a lot on our education programs. And the Safety at Sea modules for 11 through 15 are up and available. People have been using those and getting really good feedback on those. We are now piloting the Level 1 online course, and we'll be rolling that out to all the registrants over the next several weeks, and then probably during the first week of April, we'll be opening up registration for a whole new group of candidates interested in becoming Level 1 certified. Our one-day race management seminar is close to being complete. Really appreciate the support of our volunteers on that. Becky Ashburn and Jeff Johnson have been hard at work on that one. I think that's going to be a great program, and that should be able to roll out in the next week or so. We're going to be piloting that over the next couple days. What else has been going on? A lot of work from the athlete and team perspective. Luther has been involved in keeping the athletes engaged. Again, we're doing 3 to 4 webinars a week, and also focusing on prioritization, goal setting. And one of the key things that Luther and the coaches are working with the athletes on is sort of how to balance their training as well as the rest of their lives, sort of setting realistic and realistic goals around fitness and learning, but also other things in their lives that can keep them motivated. It's hard looking out a year and a half for the games, being stuck at home and really itching to get out on the water like all of us, but they're doing a great job on that. One of the things that's coming out of the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee that we're going to be working on is sort of a return to play playbook. I know a lot of us are thinking about when we're going to be able to get back out on the water, back at our clubs, back at the community programs. And the USOPC is developing some guidelines and tools to help us make some decisions along those lines. We're going to be taking that information and working with our volunteers and many of the members out in our community to build some sort of sailing-specific guidelines that will hopefully be helpful to the community. Earlier this week, we announced that the Youth Champs was going to be postponed. Those were going to be taking place at the Pensacola Yacht Club towards the end of June. Really not realistic for that time frame. So we're keeping our eye on the window of when we can be able to move forward with that. We're also looking at all the other championships that are on the schedule. Haven't postponed or canceled any of those yet, but keeping an eye on them and working on that on a daily basis. Looking ahead, we're continuing to migrate new courses online. We're also looking at what we're doing with our symposiums that are coming up in the fall and the reality of us being able to host those. One of the big ones we do in November is our coaching symposium, looking at the options to do that virtually with some regional viewing parties and input. Currently, NSPS, which is scheduled for Savannah next end of January, beginning of February is still on, but we're monitoring that and continuing to evaluate whether we hold that. And I would ask if any of you have input on that, whether you think that would be valuable to continue to hold, or if that's going to be too much of a stretch to deliver on and attend, please let us know. I think as we all have time working at home, I find it's really easy to head to the computer or look on your phone, but it's nice to take a break. Some of the things that I'm reading that I'm finding helpful, I get a daily sort of paragraph from the Harvard Business Review, which has some really good insight into management and working remotely, dealing with crisis. It's a blurb you can read in about a minute. Other things I'm finding useful are some email and newsletters I get from McKinsey. We don't have to pay to hire a really expensive consultant, but they're being very generous with a lot of information, and certainly around crisis management and strategies coming out of times like this is pretty enlightening. And finally, just to ease my mind a little bit, I've been trying out some new recipes with the family and enjoying some of that at home. And on a little softer note, I'd like to introduce you to a new member of our family that we've picked up over the last couple weeks. Come here, Romy. This is Romy, the newest addition to our family. We figured that since all of us were home, we'd have a little opportunity to bring a little bit of brightness into our life. So I'm hoping that she might join me every week and we can see how much she grows. She's already doubled in weight in the 2 weeks that we've had her. And it feels like I've got a newborn at home, waking up in the middle of the night, taking her out. But she's bringing a lot of fun to the family. So I want to thank you all for your support of U.S. Sailing. We've been getting some really good feedback from our members. Appreciate those of you that are renewing early and continuing to support us. It's enabling us to do all the things we are, and can't thank you enough. It's been great to also reach out and talk with our members, getting some really good insight from across the country and folks that are in different parts of the economy, giving insight into what they're seeing, and we're working to apply that to our business. I hope you all have a safe weekend, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Thank you.